Welcome to the Money Insights Podcast, where high-income earners come to learn wealth-building strategies that will take them from high income to high net worth. With your hosts, financial and wealth-building experts, Christian Allen and Rod Zabriskie.
Welcome into another episode of the Money Insights Podcast, the alternative wealth-building podcast for high-income earners. I'm Christian Allen. With me, as always, Rodney the Pod Zabriskie. Rod, what's up, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. I just got off of a sick week.
Yeah, it was rough.
But I'm feeling like $1 million again. You know what I noticed, Rod? And this is probably everybody, but I noticed that I really appreciate when I feel healthy after I've been sick.
Yeah.
Man, just feels so much better. Anyway, so I'm feeling great, excited to be back, and I'm ready to rock today.
Sweet.
You?
I'm ready. Yeah.
The podcast title is this, Rod. Is this really what we're up against?
Ah, okay.
Okay. So the question is, what does that even mean? Well, I was doing some prep for something totally different. I think it was for a talk we're doing in Vegas in a couple of weeks, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was doing some prep for that. I was watching some videos. I was Googling some things. I was working on what I thought would make for this dynamic presentation. And as I was doing it, Rod, I stumbled into, well, one in specific. I stumbled into a financial plan, and it was basically their version of how to create financial independence as quickly as possible. Yeah. And I don't know what caught me. I saw the visual, and so I had to watch the video. Okay. So in just a second, we're actually going to bring up the graphic that I saw and talk through their plan. But what it did is it just kind of created this intrigue for me. I was like, really? I actually said to myself, is this really what we're up against? Like, do people really think that this is the way to accomplish it? And I know people are like, well, what's the way to accomplish it? We're going to get there. But then I decided to take it a step further. And I was like, let's get into this. So I started Googling what are the best plans to achieve financial freedom as quickly as possible. And Rod, I was just floored by all of the amazing content that we came up with from it. And so today what we're going to do, just for fun, I just thought it would be a fun time. Maybe we'll compare and contrast the philosophy of maybe some of the voices. Some of them are quote unquote gurus. Some of them are maybe a little less well known, but it's voices out there who are trying to teach people about how to accomplish these financial goals. And again, they're specifically saying, how do I achieve financial freedom more quickly than I would if I just followed the traditional path, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Rod, with that being the case, I want to get into the first one, and I want to put the visual up there. So visual number one, Rod, this is from our friends at, what can't I remember the name, Rod?
Personal Finance Club.
Personal Finance Club. Okay, this is great. So this is really what got me excited about this concept. The two-step plan to retire in only 12 years, Rod. And this is brilliant.
It's sounding fantastic already.
I know. It's only 2 steps. So I'm like really excited about that. But this is easy. All I have to do is live on 46% of my post-tax income. Okay, so that's a good step. So I want to just do some math for a second because I'm going to invest the remaining 54% into none other than index funds. Okay, but the good news is, Rod, if I just do this for 12 years and I get an exactly 7% year after year for those 12 years, I'll be ready to roll. I'll have achieved what they are qualifying as financial independence, which is basically 25 times your income, which again, we'll get into that here in a second.
Yeah.
But let's just do some math for a second because I think this is good. So let's say that I'm a let's go $250,000 earner. Okay. I make my $250,000. Well, we're going post-tax. So the average W-2 earner is probably taken, let's just call it a third of that. So 80 grand out the window. We're now down to $170, right?
Yep.
Or is it $160? I can't remember. I can't do my math.
Yeah.
$170. I got it right.
Yep.
Okay, so we're down to $170. And now if we take 50% of that, I'm not going to get exact and go to 46. We get 50% of that, Rod. And now we're at like $85,000 of income, right? Okay. If you live in the Midwest and like the price of housing is like next to nothing, then this like can really work. This could work, right? It's like a reasonable potential way of doing it. Maybe again, like you would have to have extremely low housing costs and then, basically scrimp everywhere else and you might be able to pull this out. But here's the deal. I was thinking about this. If you live in California, if you live in New York, really any of the coastal expensive states, there is no way that this is even remotely possible to do. Here's my point. Even though it's like theoretically possible, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's just ridiculous. If this is your plan, you should be fired. I'm firing the Personal Finance Club from giving any type of advice on how to achieve financial independence. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Can I pick on one other thing?
Oh, please. Yeah.
And it's just the oversimplification of like this. And let's take into index funds, right? As an example, where they're saying, hey, you just invest in index funds, you earn 7% over 12 years and you're there. Like, it's obvious it's going to happen for you. And
easy peasy, Rod.
Easy peasy. You get the 25x on your annual cost of living because annual cost of living doesn't ever go up. And
right.
And you choose the thing I have to give to them is they're choosing index funds because you don't have the fees. Because if you're investing in mutual funds and other things like that, you have a broker out there that's working for you and you get the 7%, but you don't actually take 7% home. Right. So they're saying, don't do that. Go invest where you don't have the fees, low cost index funds, get your 7%.
Okay, Rod. And this whole thing gets worse. Okay. So we're going to live on their 46%. We're going to invest our 54% for 12 years. That's going to create our 25x of our income, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as I watched the video, I quickly realized that actually isn't going to work because he also suggested that if you're going to be in a longer retirement, like if you're retiring early, that your withdrawal rate should actually be more like 3 or 3.5. So their math actually doesn't work because guess what? All of that is based on a good friend that we know as the 4% rule, which has been blown up for like 25 years. As long as I've been in this business, people have been talking about how ridiculous it is the ideas of planning around the 4% rule. And yet, Rod, here we have it. Still people doing it. He's trying in this case. It's actually a 3.5% rule. But still, the point is it doesn't work. Okay. There's another element that I want to hit on, Rod.
Okay.
And really, there's a few of them. So we want to see how these plans, and we're going to go through a few. So the Personal Finance Club is not the only one that's going to get fired today. Beyond the Personal Finance Club, we're going to talk about what Dave Ramsey has to say. We're going to talk about NerdWallet, maybe Motley Fool. Who knows? We'll get into a few of these, right? And then a few just kind of random ones that I thought were fun and interesting. But what we're going to do is we have to compare them against our own philosophy.
Yeah.
Which is the invest with benefits philosophy. Okay. So 6 elements, right? 6 core benefits, I should say, inside the invest with benefits philosophy. Leverage, velocity, cash flow. How many of those first 3 are being utilized in this 2-step plan?
Well, certainly not leverage. Velocity.
Doesn't sound like a lot of velocity happening to me, Rod.
They might say...
It sounds like you push your money and you set it there.
Yeah, they might say you're reinvesting your gains. And
Okay. So there's some velocity there.
A little different.
Okay. So how about tax optimization? How do you feel about tax optimization in this plan?
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
They're like, when we're going to get into some really sophisticated tax optimization plans here later, right? But this one, they don't even mention tax optimization. Like you said, overly simplified. I just thought it was funny. Like, if I'm being totally honest, everybody looking at this, everyone that's listening to our podcast that's listening to this is thinking, okay, that's just kind of ridiculous. Like, that's not how you get there. And we have a unique, what's the right word? A unique view.
Demographic.
What's the word?
Perspective.
No. Perspective. Thank you. We have a unique perspective, Rod, because we literally have I don't know, maybe 12 to 1500-ish clients who actually live like this, either are or close to financial independence.
Mm-hmm.
Like they already are living that. And so from firsthand experience, it's hard to look at this and not just be like, that is complete jackassery, because that's not how people do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. That's not how people do it. Okay. I don't want to beat up on this one for too long, Rod. I want to move to NerdWallet. Okay. NerdWallet. I actually watched a video from NerdWallet. So I'm just going to talk through their 5-step plan. And then what I want from you, Rod, is to give your assessment on how well NerdWallet's plan stacks up to the invest with benefits philosophy.
Okay.
You think you can do that for us?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Number 1, save more. Number 2, this one's good. Know your number. Yeah. I think ING.
We know where they're going.
Number.
Yeah, we know where they're going.
1.23 million, and I'm set for life.
Yeah.
Next one, Rod. Allocate accordingly. Okay, good. I don't even know what that means, but allocate accordingly. Number 4, understand withdrawal rules. Okay, we're getting back up to our 3.5% withdrawal rate, 4% rule. And finally, number 5, and this one's my favorite. If you wanna retire 10 years early, I should clarify, Rod, this is NerdWallet's. This isn't their FIRE. This is their how to just shave off 10 years. So now let's say you're retiring at 55 instead of 60, 65, right? Okay. Yep. Number 5, Rod, my favorite. Consider part-time work in retirement. Okay, that's it. So if you want to retire early, consider working longer. That's the plan. Yeah. When you're retired. Brilliant. Okay, sorry. I read that and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me that feels like that's ironic, but that's where I'm at. Okay, Rod, how does that stack up with the invest with benefits philosophy?
Well, let's start with the know your number part, because that basically paints the picture. Know your number. Because it tells you where you're going, because they're going off of the nest egg plan rather than the cash flow plan.
Okay, so what is the nest egg plan versus a cash flow plan?
Yeah, the nest egg plan is if you build up large enough of a nest egg, you can retire and live off of it and know you're not going to run out of money. You created your retirement by saving up enough money.
You got $2 million in mutual funds, and that's going to sustain you for life in conjunction with your Social Security, assuming the market performs reasonably well.
Yeah, and that fits in with the rest of the points, right? Allocate accordingly,
very much
withdrawal
fits
rules,
to it.
All of it is this nest egg. Whereas the invest with benefits is all built around the cash flow model, or the passive income
built around
model.
Like actually creating wealth, Rod, because that's what happens. This is like, and maybe this is the big differentiator, right? These plans are basically to like, and we're going to get into a few of them, but most of these plans are basically ways to like scrimp and like just try to get there.
Yeah.
But they're not like how you actually build wealth, right? There is not a single plan that I have here that suggested to invest in anything other than mutual funds of some shape, size, and color. Index fund. Yeah, that's what it was. And to me, I'm like, this is incredible. Like, it tells me that those people aren't actually seeing what's happening out there in the world. Because guess what, Ron? We've been on both sides of this. Mm-hmm. We've been on the side in the traditional space. Like, I was securities licensed for more than a decade. And I'm telling you, we're meeting with people and trying to create plans in this model. And it is by and large a failure. There are people who do it, right? But it's like, it's sad because it's the exception rather than the rule. And what's happened is we made it the go-to plan, even though it's a failing model. Like we kind of know it's a failing model, but it's almost like people don't know where they can go or what to do. So they just keep regurgitating the same model that isn't working. And then we're producing the very same result over and over again. It's remarkable. Yeah, and it's why we have poverty in America.
Can I point out
a little extreme, but you get it.
One of the reasons why it it fails.
That's not the reason for poverty in America. I should be
Sorry,
There's a lot of reasons that poverty exists that don't, and it's not, and poverty is not funny either. I want to make that really clear.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Good.
Sorry, Rod. I had to
Yeah,
clarify.
that's good. So one of the reasons why it struggles so much is that it has so many variables that they're solving for that are easy to plug into a formula. So the one we had just a minute ago, he was just doing the math. If you save this much and you put it in, you earn 7%, and you get to the 25x, then it's it. That's all you need to know. Just plug in those numbers to your formula.
Okay,
and you're good.
except he missed one, Rod. He then said that if you're going to retire earlier than 65, you need to go lower than 4%. So guess what? You better save more like 30x instead of 20. I'm just saying, if you want to be safe, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and thank you. That highlights the point. Is the problem is you think you just take those variables and you plug it in and you're good. Like, you know the answer to all of your needs by saying, I have this much time, I'm going to earn this much in my investments, therefore my nest egg gets to be this big and I'm ready.
Okay, here's the thing I've experienced, Rod. Things always go according to the way that I planned them throughout my life.
Always.
It's been almost like to the T. I made a sketch of my life years and years ago, and it has gone almost exactly the way I put it out. Now, obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but that's part of it, right? You're planning on these variables that are like unplannable, right? At least in the way that they're trying to. Like, I can get ideas, I can create estimates, I can get a general sense of that, but I don't know it. So like, planning around a broken idea, planning around variables that I can't possibly know all the answers to, seems like a bad idea. Yeah. I'm just saying.
And it also ignores variables that are very important as well, like what's inflation going to be, how long am I going to live, how sick am I going to get, important. Right? I mean, that there's
am I going to need money for these things, and do I have children who are going to potentially rely on me for support? Like, there's just
but here's the good news.
Variables.
Here's the good news.
There's good news. Okay,
they built a contingency plan into this one.
Perfect.
Consider part-time work.
That's it. Part-time work is the answer. So okay, I can appreciate that. They're like, hey, do this, this, and this. If that doesn't work, just keep working.
Yeah.
That's the way to retire early. Okay, Rod, that was good. Nerd Wallet, thank you for your wisdom. Rod, let's go to Finance Superhero, because they've got a simple plan, and I'm very excited about it. It is simple. We'll talk about it.
Okay, bring it up here.
Okay, simple plan coming up, Rod. Today, if it comes up. Okay, good. This is easy, right?
Yeah,
I should say it's simple. It's not easy, it's simple. Achieving financial dependence. Wow, let's try that again. Achieving financial independence. Why can I not say that word? Third time. Achieving financial independence is SIMPLE. Simple, Rod. All you have to do is start soon. Invest in what?
Low fee
What are you investing
funds.
in, Russ? Low fee funds. Good advice. Make sure you manage risk wisely. That seems smart. Oh, here's a good one, Rod. Practice stealth wealth. Okay, what's stealth wealth, Rod?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, maybe I should have done a little more digging on this one, but either way, we'll put this one on the maybe. Like, maybe stealth wealth and like engages all of the core principles that we believe in, and we just don't know it. But so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Rod, we have the first word that goes into our 6 benefits. Fortunately, it's not quite the way we were thinking, but it is leverage, not your money, Rod. Leverage your strengths.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is great. We talk about that all the time. Think about when we talk about like building a business, right? In that situation, you can leverage your strengths, and that's absolutely a way to achieve greater financial fortunes, whatever you want to say. Yeah. Okay. However, can I just say, if we're talking about money specifically, I would encourage you to use leverage with your actual money. I'm just saying. And here's the good news. We have thousands of examples of people that we've actually talked to who have done that and literally achieved it. So so anyway, it is pretty simple. And then finally, Rod, just enjoy each step of the way. Okay, so how does the simple plan stack up against the invest with benefits philosophy?
Okay, so the challenge with this one is that it's not specific enough. So, for example, could you take these principles and apply them in an alternative investing strategy where you're working to create passive income that can replace your working income, and like use these principles here to do it? I think so.
Okay, but he does tell you specifically where to invest in this situation.
That's it. That's kind of where it starts to fall apart. He's saying invest in low fee funds, and maybe low fee funds includes debt funds and real estate equity funds and ATM
Chances
funds.
are it doesn't. Chances are it doesn't.
But here's the thing, and the reason I think why I'm just kind of tongue in cheek a little bit is low fees doesn't necessarily mean large returns. In fact, in a lot of cases, it means ho-hum returns.
Thank you. That's a great point, Rod. We did, and this is all over inside these plans. It's always about low cost index funds. And can I just tell you, low cost index funds are better than high cost index funds. So we'll go with you on that.
Yeah.
Having said that, the idea that the cost of the advice that you're being given, or the cost of the investment should be the primary driver of a decision is absolutely absurd. And again, if you want to invest like the wealthy, well, think about the types of things that we typically see them investing in. We've talked about on the podcast things like hedge funds as an example, right? Hedge funds are loaded with fees, right? But guess what? If my hedge fund manager has an incredible track record of producing significant returns above and beyond the fees, then why would I worry about the fee if it's just like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in that situation, right? I don't know if that's the right saying, but you get my point. It's just a stupid way to think about it.
Okay, so I was really trying hard to put it to shoehorn it into the invest with benefits, but you're right. There are just some key flaws there that it's just not quite lining up.
Okay, the only element out there that we might be missing, Rod, is the stealth wealth thing. There's enough ambiguity around that could engage all of our 6 core benefits, but at least at face value, this is also finance superhero. You are also fired.
It's unfortunate.
Now I've fired. Okay, did I fire NerdWallet? I should have if I didn't.
I don't think you verbalized it.
You're fired too. Okay, NerdWallet's officially fired. Okay, Rod, we're gonna move. We're only gonna do a couple more of these, but next I want to talk about Wealthfront. This was a video I watched right as I was kind of getting into this as well. It was the second video I watched.
Okay.
And I thought it was great. And I like these ones that aren't like 15, 18 steps. Now, those ones are a little bit more specific, but they're almost like more ambiguous the longer they get. It's really bizarro. So I could give you an example. Dave Ramsey has his 15, and once you kind of start going through all of them, they almost start to like battle up against one another. It's kind of a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
But I like these simple ones. Number 5, Rod, 1 through 5 are steps from Wealthfront. Figure out how much money you need to achieve your financial goals. So we're back to know your number. Okay. Yep. So know your number. Next, Rod, this is good. Assess your current situation. Okay. So we want to know we have to know exactly the number of dollars we need in order to retire in the future. So that's easy. We got that. Number 2, this is good. I do think you should probably assess your current situation. Step 3, Rod, just pay off all debt. Pay off debt. Any and every debt gone. If you have a house, if you have a investment property, any of those things, just pay off debts
Yeah,
altogether.
pretty easy.
Simple. Number 4, reduce spending. And finally, Rod, step 5, increase your income. Okay, so here's the good news. I actually do think some of these fit inside of our investment. They're just so vague that you would have no idea how to actually do it. It's like, okay, go ahead and increase your income. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I have some ideas. And to be fair, like maybe if I got into more detail with them, they would have gone through this with me. But based on the plan that I saw, Rod, all it was reduce spending, pay off debt, increase income, assess current situation, and know your number.
Okay.
Nest egg. Any thoughts on this, or did we already just beat this whole idea to death? Do we just skip over it?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting on this one is that they aren't giving you like the assumptions on how much you're going to earn in your investing, or like you said, how you're going to increase the income. They're just, throwing it out there. Hey, do it. So
I feel bad, Rod. I've done Wealthfront an injustice.
Okay.
I kept telling you it was a 5-step plan.
Okay.
It's actually a 6-step plan. I apologize. I missed the 6th step. This is going to bring things together. Here's what you're going to do. Number 6, invest. It's actually invest. But here's the good news. They were good enough to be specific about how, what, where to invest. Here's where you should do it. Specifically, you should invest in the stock market. And then they started to list out the several reasons why. I might have hit on this with you on the last podcast briefly, Rod, but I get into this video, and the first reason, I almost had to like turn it off at that point. But the first reason that he said you should be investing in the stock market, and again, I invest in the stock market, but you know why I don't invest in the stock market? For the tax benefits. Because guess what? There's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
But that's the number one reason that he suggested you need to be investing in the stock market. And it made me like step back and realize like, I'm pretty sure most of these people like don't have a clue, like not a clue. Okay. I do think Dave Ramsey has a clue. He's just like pandering to his massive audience. And so it's like most people, I know this is kind of sad to say, but most people are more getting by. They're like struggling to get by. And so it's like, you've got to create messaging that fits in line with that phase of life. And so I do get that element exists, or kind of speaking to the masses, like we oftentimes say. But the problem is that it's also like, it's not giving people reality, one, or any type of hope. And the sad thing is that both of those things could exist. There are some literally very simple things that people could do differently that would have an unbelievable and massive impact on their financial lives. And instead, they're busy putting all their money when they're 22 years old. They're busy stocking up money in their 401ks. Money that they're going to have to pay a higher tax rate on than the 15% rate that they're currently in.
Yeah.
But that's the advice that's out there, Rod, and it just gets me all fired up. Okay, I want to finish with our good friend Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
Because I feel like it wouldn't be right if we didn't. He's kind of the king of the bad gurus. So let's throw up on our screen Dave Ramsey's plan, Rod.
Yeah. The 7 baby steps.
Okay, so he actually has 2 plans. He's got his 15-step plan, but that one was just like too much. So we went with the 7 baby steps to what, Rod? To becoming a millionaire. Okay. And good news, if you become a millionaire, you're set, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're set for life.
And I like the wording here. It's not a fairy tale. It works every single time.
I love that. That is great. Can I just tell you, when I became a millionaire, Rod, I thought to myself, this is it. I've made it. I no longer have to work. I don't have to worry about money. It's all, smooth sailing from here.
Good job.
Okay, here we go. Number 1, Rod, step 1. This is good. Save how much money?
$1,000.
$1,000 in your emergency fund. Okay, good. That is the baby step. I'll give him that.
Yeah, getting started.
To become a millionaire. That's a baby. Okay, number 2, pay off all debt. Okay, wait. Rod, I see something in parentheses there that is quite unexpected. He says pay off all debt except the house. Has Dave changed his tune?
No,
he was telling us no house debts.
Yeah, we'll get there. Just wait.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
Okay,
he's saying
debts,
step 2 is that you want to eliminate all the debt, but it's okay if you move to step 3.
This is like if you had a house already, right? Like if you already have a house, eliminate all the debts except your house. That's a little bit more reasonable.
So you can move to step 3 if you've eliminated all of the debt, but you could still have a mortgage, but you've eliminated all the other debt. Now you can move to step 3.
Okay, perfect. Step 3 is now instead of saving $1,000, we're going to step things up and we're going to save 3 to 6 months of expenses.
Yep.
In a fully funded emergency fund. So no longer are we relying on the baby step number 1, the $1,000. We've got some real cash in the bank now. Yeah. Okay, good. I feel like we're on step 4, and I feel like we're about halfway to becoming a millionaire so far. Don't you? At least. Okay, step 4. Invest 15% of your household income in retirement accounts.
Yep.
Okay, we've talked about that, and it doesn't matter the age or circumstance. Just invest in retirement accounts. Mm-hmm. It's always the way to go.
Take you to the promised land. Yeah.
Step 5: save for your children's college fund. Okay, can I just ask this, Rod? How does saving for your kids' college fund help you achieve financial freedom and independence? I mean, like it kind of does, but like it's money that you're planning on spending, not using for yourself. I guess if you consider like making sure that you've paid for your kids' college educations, part of like the duty of parents, then I can see this. I personally, if I'm talking to somebody and they're needing baby steps, I'm probably not going to focus too much on the college fund until we actually have like made sure that they can live like a happy, comfortable life. I'm just saying, that's just me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think your assumption is correct that they're saying you're going to pay for your kids' fund. That's or for your kids' college. That's a given. Okay. Therefore, plan ahead.
Okay, good. Step number 6, Rod, pay off your home early.
Hey, there it is.
So Dave's like, okay, if you already had a house, I get it. You're paying 3.5% interest on your mortgage. Maybe initially we don't need to pay that thing off. But once we get going, once we've got a baseline, that's when we really start to accelerate. Now, I will say this, Rod. I do believe that there are situations where it makes sense and it can be valuable to save and pay off debts, especially if you're doing it efficiently. That's why we talk about Adam Carroll's shred method, because the idea is that you're turning it into a shred and invest model. Mm-hmm. You're shredding debt, and ideally you're shredding bad debts to then invest, which, by the way, could mean utilizing debt again, right? In order to invest.
Conservative leverage.
Conservative leverage is the key. Yeah. Okay. And number 7, Rod, build wealth and give. So here's the question I have for you before we close up today's show. Do you feel like if you were to do these 7 baby steps, we'll say with exactness, okay? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like by the time you did all 7 of those things, you would be a millionaire every single time without fail?
Yeah.
It's not a fairy tale.
I have a feeling that there are a lot of gaps that need to be filled in here, because
I have a feeling that there's a lot of people who do this that have like a net worth of like $45,000.
Yeah, because you're right.
Maybe you can't pay off your house and still have that, but like aside from that, you could be like broke and have done all of these 7 baby steps.
Well, maybe it just takes so long to pay off your home that and inflation is helping you out to get you to that million level. So by the time you pay it off.
Paying off the home, man, I just have so much, that just like pains my soul, right? Now, again, there's situations where it can be reasonable. I even hesitate to say like makes sense. Like, okay, if you're paying 10 or 12% on your mortgage, then yeah, you probably don't want to have a mortgage, right? Yeah. But if you're paying 3 or 4%, now I know the interest rates are higher than that today. Yeah. But most people are stuck in, I say stuck because a lot of times it's stuck, but most people are in properties in homes that have really low interest rates associated with them. And so the idea that you're going to pay that off early and figure out how to be more efficient with money is just kind of ludicrous, right? Like you have the built-in efficiency literally sitting there in front of your, like right at your fingertips, and you're kind of throwing it away. So I hear that paying up. And what's even worse, Rod, man, this really pains my soul. When Dave or anybody else says that you should buy your first home in cash. Mm-hmm. It just like makes me like a little bit queasy because I think about how much wealth an individual would have not been able to accumulate over the last 10, 20 years had they had followed that advice. Like I would love to do that. I want to be like, okay, let's like gather up the Dave Ramseyites and figure out, okay, who has followed Dave's plan over the last 20 years and not purchased a first time home, and who has, and then let's do like a comparison and see here's the thing. The person who purchased the house could have done none of these other steps. Yeah. And still been ahead.
Yep. And still might even be, and already might be the millionaire, right? Because of the increase
just
in the value
because
of the
the
home.
Appreciation of the house. Like it's insane. It's insane. Okay. Rod, this has been fun. I thought it was fun. I know that I got a little fired up, so I enjoyed it.
Well, and I need to hear you say the words though, because you didn't fire Dave yet. So.
Oh, gosh, you're right. Yeah, if there's anybody that needs to be fired, we've got to fire the head of the snake, and that is our man, Dave Ramsey. You are fired. Well, this episode has been tons of fun. Yeah. I think I've left more edified than I thought I would be, if I'm being totally honest. Man, so success. From that standpoint, I'm pretty excited. Here's my closing message, Rod. If you're going to invest, and I know most of you are, make sure to invest with benefits. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Money Insights podcast. To learn more about the financial and business strategies discussed in this show, please visit moneyinsights.net. The views and opinions expressed on the Money Insights podcast are not intended to be individual financial, tax, or legal advice. Always consult with the appropriate advisor before making financial decisions. And if you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This will help others find the show and learn wealth building strategies for themselves. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.